Yeah, so it's just talking about the notion of allowing the archetypes to inhabit our bodies as a means of finding out more about them. And this is something that I really felt with my time in the creature. I thought that was an incredibly powerful experience, and those of you who went into the creature, I think, will agree about the sort of sensory overload, for want of a better term, that I certainly experienced. I hope probably you did as well. I found it really, really difficult to talk at all, actually, after those experiences, and I think that was a really kind of powerful thing to kind of happen, really. And I really see these kind of archetypes as being, and this inhabitation process as being a way of finding out more about the sensuous society, and actually kind of allowing these experiences to tell us what the sensuous society is like, and also kind of how we need to or how we may need to kind of change to accommodate these sensuous modes of being. So it's kind of like a circle of experience and reflection, really. Yeah, so just to kind of you asked me to talk a little bit about interaction. I haven't really written anything down, so I'll just kind of talk, and hopefully something good will come out. But I was thinking about kind of the interaction that we use for the creature as a kind of quite a distanced interaction in terms of the actual participants who became involved, unless for those of you who actually went inside the creature, which was obviously very much not distanced. But I think interaction for me really is kind of this accommodation of the participants. So the work that is made, my work that is made, isn't finished without the participants. So it relies heavily. It's not, for example, aesthetically finished either without the participants involved. So there will always be a kind of unknown element that comes from the participant, and quite often that I use kind of not games but rule systems, really that kind of create a scenario to really try and kind of work out how interaction may or how a participant may become involved in the kind of role that they're playing within the interaction. So I really try to avoid playing a character, as it were. It's always much more of a heightened facet of my own personality, as a kind of, which kind of links to that exploration I was describing before. But also, I don't want the participant to feel like they're playing a character either, and that they are free to come as themselves into this relationship that we create, really. So and the interaction is as much about hopefully as much about a decision making process for them as it is about a kind of forced interaction in terms of like, you must do this or this will not work. So I feel like the better pieces that I've made are very much kind of, well, you can interact to the degree that you want to interact, and that there is kind of gradated in terms of the participants' ability to engage, really, if that makes sense. So that you can have, as a participant, you can have a small interaction, or you can have a very sort of significant interaction as well, a much more kind of full-bodied, and hopefully that's something that I'm keen to kind of ensure occurs within our work at Roskilde. I just want to kind of end with a word of warning, really, because this kind of this process and this way of making work, this way of encountering people, can be kind of dangerous territory. That liminal stage is a transformative one, and that is both for the participants and for performers, or whatever you want to call our role within that. And we shouldn't see the senses as being separate from the brain in terms of or subservient to the brain, so that the sense of touch, for example, isn't devoid of its ability to communicate meaning, if that makes sense. So it's not touch isn't the only sort of, the sensation of contact with the skin is not the only thing that touch can do, in my opinion, and that, as an example, it can affect the emotional kind of and potentially the rational states of your mind as well, particularly the emotional. So, for example, in my work, which has often involved me blindfolded, engaged with some with intimate touch with a participant who I can't even see, never mind have ever spoken to. I've definitely felt kind of feelings of very kind of strong emotional feelings of attachment towards people. That can be quite kind of confusing or unsettling, perhaps. And I think it's just important to be aware that can happen, and those that particularly with participants, that there has to be. It doesn't have to be, but it's probably wise to keep some kind of rational distance, just a kind of some kind of rational part there to turn back to. You don't want to be keeping a distance from the role that you're playing. That's really important, that you're as close to it as possible, but that there is a way of kind of stepping back out of this process if it becomes kind of too full on, and that we as kind of frame makers we should be thinking about that, I think. With that in mind, I feel like it'd be good for you to keep a dramaturgical diary, one where you can record the kind of blockages that I've talked about previously, to your performance. So as a way of kind of going deeper, but also as a record of the sort of emotional exploration as well, as a way of kind of working your way back. Make the analogy to a trail of breadcrumbs left through the woods. These records of your kind of emotional exploration and in relation to this performance, might be the only way back if you find yourself lost. So I genuinely think that that's an important thing to do, and it would be really helpful in terms of our ongoing exploration of these ideas and these archetypes, and of your own personalities and psychologies as well. So on that note, I'll leave you. Lots of love, and I'll see you physically in really soon. Okay, take care.